Before we start the story, let's subscribe the channel. Let's start it. The night that taught me how quietly rejection can sit beside hope began with silence. An empty chair across from me, a cup of coffee growing cold. The diner hummed softly with conversations that had nothing to do with me, warm yellow lights reflecting off chrome tables and faded holiday decorations. It was strange how a place meant for comfort could feel so unforgiving when you realize you're not the one being chosen. I had dressed carefully that evening. I practiced my smile in the bathroom mirror, adjusted my jacket twice, and told myself this blind date could finally be the start of something that made sense. Not perfection, just connection. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that one moment can quietly change a life, please like this video, share it, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach people who need hope. My name is Ethan Walker, and at that point in my life, I was tired in ways sleep could never fix. I lived alone in a small Ohio apartment, worked long shifts at a shipping warehouse, and carried the quiet weight of being overlooked. Friends called me dependable, kind, safe. But somehow, I was never the one anyone chose first. When a co-worker insisted on setting me up, I said yes. Not because I believed in it, but because I was exhausted from always saying no to possibilities. I arrived early at the diner, sat straight in a red vinyl booth, and watched the door every time it opened. She walked in, scanned the room, smiled politely, and sat down across from me. That smile faded quickly. We exchanged a few careful sentences that never found rhythm. She stayed just long enough to be kind, then offered a gentle excuse and left. The bell above the door rang softly, sealing the rejection. I stayed seated, pretending to scroll through my phone, so no one would see how small I felt. The waitress refilled my coffee without asking. Her quiet kindness nearly broke me. She wasn't sitting near me at first. She stood by the counter waiting for a takeout order, dressed simply but confidently. There was something calm about her presence, like she wasn't rushing through life. She glanced at me once, then again, not with pity, but recognition. When her order was delayed, she chose a booth nearby. The diner grew quieter as the night deepened. I considered leaving, but something kept me there. Then she turned toward me and asked, "Is this seat taken?" Her voice was gentle, steady, unexpected. I shook my head, surprised. She sat across from me, not intruding, just sharing the space. There was no awkward silence. She didn't look at me like I was a problem to endure. She looked at me like a person. We talked naturally about work, small towns, bad blind dates. I didn't realize how tightly I'd been holding myself together until her presence made it feel safe to breathe again. She told me she lived nearby and cared for her younger sister full-time. Responsibility had shaped her early, giving her depth and clarity. She spoke about loyalty, commitment, and how society misunderstands people whose lives don't follow neat timelines. For the first time that night, I wasn't thinking about how I looked or sounded. I was just present. The conversation shifted without force. Clara's voice softened, but her eyes grew serious. She explained she was facing a situation that required stability and trust, something money couldn't solve. She needed a partner, not just emotionally, but publicly and legally. When she asked if I would consider being her husband, the world seemed to pause. It didn't feel absurd. It felt heavy. Real. She wasn't desperate. She was clear. She needed someone honest, dependable, willing to build something meaningful even if romance wasn't the foundation. I didn't answer immediately. Fear, disbelief, and fresh rejection echoed inside me. I asked for time. She respected that. Over the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about her, about the calm certainty in her voice, about how different it felt to be chosen intentionally. We met again, this time intentionally. We talked about boundaries, values, faith, responsibilities, and what marriage really means beyond romance. She didn't promise love. She promised honesty, respect, and effort. In a world obsessed with instant chemistry, her approach felt radical. My biggest struggle wasn't trusting her. It was believing I deserved to be chosen so deliberately. Years of quiet rejection had trained me to accept less. Clara challenged that without trying. Slowly, something changed. Shared meals became shared laughter. Silence grew comfortable. Care formed naturally, not forced, not expected. We stood together in a small Indiana courthouse. No grand ceremony. No crowd. Just two people choosing each other with open eyes. I thought about that night in the diner. The man I was when I felt invisible. I wished I could tell him rejection wasn't the end. It was redirection. Marriage didn't fix everything. Life stayed complicated. But we faced it together. Love doesn't always arrive as fireworks. Sometimes it comes quietly, as a steady hand reaching out when you least expect it. If this story touched your heart, please share, and comment. Tell us, do you believe rejection can be a blessing in disguise? Because I do now.